The lore says that when you meditate sufficiently to get down to a place called Samadhi, which in the magical tradition is gnosis, it's a state which is considered somewhere like hovering between a full-blown mystical experience and a little bit higher than that, kind of, so that you're able to maintain awareness and you're not fully unified with the universe. You're still yourself, but you're very, very deep in terms of your meditative state. So in that state, if you can get there and sustain it, according to classical yoga, and do a process that's called samyama, which is putting, in that state, there's almost no ego left, there's no intention, it's just like pure awareness. But you maintain it, you add on to it through samyama a little bit of intentional spin. So I'm saying the word spin because it's like you're having like this pool of clear water, nothing's happening, and just like a little rock into it to make it have ripples. You're spinning something into it that have intention. So the siddhis, so-called powers that develop as a result of long-term meditative practice, are identical to psychic effects and are identical to magical effects. They're all the same thing, except that in the yoga tradition, there are prescriptions about how to do it. So step one, be able to maintain samadhi for an indefinite period of time. Well, that step one might take somebody 30 years. It's a long step one. But nevertheless, if you can get there, you can maintain the state of samadhi, and you do this samyama practice where you're putting an intentional spin, and then because this is from language 2,000 years ago, it sounded more metaphorical. So one thing might be, in this state of samadhi, I will have the strength of an elephant. That's the intentional spin. In that state, the siddhi that occurs will give you supernormal strength. And another may be that I wish to have not that I wish, but my intention is I merge with the idea of wind. And now I can levitate or fly. And there's roughly 26 different kinds of siddhis. Some of them are elementary psychic things, and other ones are phenomena that we hear about in legends, but we don't see anymore.
How would a person know whether or not they're in samadhi if it can't be described?
Well, all I can say is from my own experience. Mm-hmm. So I have a sense of what it is like to have thoughts stop for a while. You somehow just become awareness. And after a while, you become aware of the fact that you haven't thought about anything for quite a while. In addition, there's, at least for me, there's a sense of, I would say, calm or peace that is much, much more profound than what might be like a body calm. It's a mental or even awareness type of calmness that is unlike anything else that I've experienced in meditation or any other state. Generally, I notice it as I'm leaving it, because in that state there are no thoughts, there's no action, there's nothing, except I know I'm awake. So it's in the process of leaving that state where I realize, holy smoke, that was different. Also, oftentimes samadhi will be described as blissful. Well, that too. There's a sense of profound joy. But that's not quite the right word. It's something, and I understand why people use the word blissful. That's not quite right either, because we associate those things with emotional body states. And it's not that. It's something else which has a mental correlate, I suppose. The total amount of time that I mentioned is a couple of minutes. I don't actually know that that's the case. I know it wasn't hours because I know that the environment was pretty much the same, but it didn't feel like it was very long. But it was a dramatically different condition. And I can say that if I was sufficiently motivated to try to get back there, because it is motivating to get into that state, I can certainly understand then why people involved in meditation, especially way back when maybe life was a lot more difficult, that if you can get into a state where you're saturated with some kind of joy that permeates everything, of course you'd want to go back there and stay there if you could. So enlightenment, then, in one way of understanding it, at least as I understand it, is that you can go there at will and evoke some aspect of that even in daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have a little piece of that underlying bliss, which is always present. And I can see then that that would be a very nice place to be.